Hello, welcome back. This is Joe. In this video, I will be installing a database server called MySQL. It's one of many database servers out there. In addition to that, I will also be creating a test database with nothing in it, setting up a user account to access that database, and finally enabling a web programming language called PHP, which I did in a previous video, to 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 communicate with the database server. So first thing is first is installing the MySQL database server. You will need to head out to mysql.com, click on the Downloads GA link, go all the way down to the very bottom of this list to the MySQL Community Server Edition section and click on the Download from MySQL Developer Zone. Find the MySQL Community Server link again and click on the download link. And if you scroll down a little bit, they have options to choose from. They have a nice installer to go ahead, and you can go ahead and download that one if you want. I won't be choosing that option. I'll be doing something called the no installer option. That means it doesn't have a graphical user interface on top of it. And what I went and did is I clicked on the download link, the download button here for the Windows 64-bit version of MySQL, and scroll down and just click on no thanks, just start my download. And I have already downloaded it. It's about 200 or so meg in size, and I saved the file out to my desktop, which is located right here. And my favorite file extractor, which happens to be 7-zip, choose the folder, click on the extract button and type in C:\/ to install it to your hard drive. And it will go and extract approximately 1 gig worth of files. After the files are extracted, go ahead and close out the file extractor window. Click on the Start button. In the search for programs and files text box, type in C:\/ and press enter. And scroll down to the folder that says MySQL with all the version number stuff after it. Right click on that folder, choose rename, and rename the folder just to be MySQL. And if you double click on that folder, inside the bin directory is all of the binaries for starting the server, accessing it from the command line. You will want to add that to your system path. To do that, click on Start, right click on Computer, and choose Properties. Click on Advanced Settings, which will prompt you for a password if you are using user access control. On the Advanced tab, choose Environment Variables. In the System Variables section, scroll down to the variable that says Path, select it, and click on the Edit button. In the Variable Value text field, go all the way to the end of the line, and if there's not already a semicolon at the end of the line, go ahead and add a semicolon and type in C:\mysql bin, and then click OK. Click OK on the Environment Variables window, click OK on the System Properties window, and finally close out the Control Panel window. And while you're at it, close out the MySQL bin window, the Microsoft Explorer window as well. Now you can click on Start, type in CMD, right click on cmd.exe and choose Run as Administrator. After typing in your administrator password, you'll get to a nice friendly command prompt. Change the directory to MySQL. Well, actually, we don't even need to do that because it's in our system path now. How silly of me. What I'll do now is go ahead and install MySQL as a Windows service. To do that, type in MySQL D space 2 dashes and then the word install and press enter. And it will tell you that the service is successfully installed. Now we can access the database from the command line, which is through a crude command line interface. There are other nicer web interfaces out there, but just to do the initial work, I'll need to use the command line interface. To access it, type in MySQL and then press, actually no, don't press enter. Do a space -u, follow that with the word root, and then press enter. Well, it can't connect to MySQL because it's installed it as a service, but I haven't started it up as a service yet. So go ahead and click on the Start menu in the Search for Programs text field, type in Service, and on the Services link, right-click on it, choose Run as Administrator, type in your administrative password, scroll down, there should be a MySQL section entry here, and as you can see, its status is not started. So go ahead and right click on MySQL and choose Start. That is a problem. Okay, remain calm. Let me try removing it as a service. Is there a refresh? No, of course not. Okay, let's try this. I will do a sc delete MySQL. And now it says delete service success. So if I go back to services, MySQL is no longer there, which is good. So just to be on the safe side, let me change to the MySQL bin directory and type in MySQL D space -- install. Service is successfully installed, so I should be able to go back into services as the administrator. And if I go to properties, it's now pointing at the correct directory. So I will go ahead, right click and choose Start. And it says the status is now started. So I should now, from the MySQL bin directory, I should be able to type in MySQL space -u root space -p and then press enter. When it prompts me for a password, just press enter and I'm in. See, every video tutorial is filled with a unknown adventure, and you just kind of encounter one obstacle at a time and figure out how to work around that, because you don't want to record the tutorial video again, because I've done that way too many times. Okay, so now I'll pull up the cheat sheet here. What we'll need to do is first assign a password to the root account. To do that, there we go. Change the database to MySQL by typing in use space MySQL, end it with a semicolon. Now you'll need to type in the command that's in step 3 here, which is update MySQL.user set password equals password, and the root account is the administrative account in MySQL, but type in an apostrophe and pick the password that you want to check, that you want to use. In this case, I'll just choose program often. Again, you'll have to pick a better password than what I picked, which is not password or anything like that, but pick a good password in that with a apostrophe and a close parenthesis, and then type in where user equals root. End it with a semicolon, and we're good. Also, if I do a select user, comma, host from user, and type in a semicolon, there's a user without actually a username, and that's actually a guest account. I will want to remove that as well. Let me see here, where user is equal to empty. Okay, good. Type in delete from user where user is equal to apostrophe apostrophe. End it with a semicolon, press enter. So if I just look at the available users, the only available user is the root user. Go ahead and type in flush privileges and type quit. Now I should be able to access the database as the root user with the password that I just set. You can do that by typing in MySQL space -u root space -p and then press enter. When prompted for the password, type in the password that you set in the update command, which in my situation is program often, and we're in. Now I will want to create a database. To do that, I'm referencing another section in the more than useful MySQL guide. To create a database, type in create database, and then you'll type in the database name. In the example, they just call it MyDB. And normally this is what you would do, and you type a semicolon, press enter, and you'd be done with it. But if you want to allow for international characters, you have to type in 2 extra pieces of information. Default character set UTF-8 followed with default collate UTF-8 underscore general underscore CI, end that with a semicolon, press enter, and we've created a MyDB test database with no information inside of it. Now what I will want to do is create another user account that will only be able to access the MyDB database, taking us to the third tab of the MySQL instructions. To create a user, type in create user, and then you'll need to think of a name for a user, and I haven't even thought of one. In my Linux video, I called it Cubby, so I'll just for consistency, I'll call it Cubby at localhost identified by, and then you'll need to think of a password for this user account. I'll call it mypass100. You'll think of a better one, of course, end it with a semicolon, press enter. Now you'll go ahead and grant the user account that you just created privileges to access the MyDB database. To do that, type in grant all on mydb.star to Cubby, and you'll have to choose you'll have to type in substitute Cubby with the user name that you created, localhost, end it with a apostrophe and a semicolon, and press enter. Now, one thing I should mention is that the localhost restricts it to internally, and the situation is I only can access it from this computer. I can't access it from the outside network. I can't access it from other computers inside the network. I only can access MySQL with the Cubby user account from my current Windows machine where the MySQL server resides. Go ahead and type in flush privileges and type quit. And just to test it out, type in MySQL space -u and then type in the user account that you created and type in a space -p and go ahead and enter in the password, which in my situation was mypass100. and we're in, and I can change it to the MyDB database by typing in use space MyDB, end it with a semicolon, and we can access that database. Type in quit. The last thing I want to do is to enable the, and this is optional if you're using PHP, if you're not using PHP, then you can skip this step. But if you are using PHP, I want to be able to communicate with the MySQL database. To do that, click on Start, browse to your PHP installation, which I did in a previous video, and I put it in C:\PHP. Locate the php.ini file. If it's not there, you'll need to take the php ini-development, create a copy of it, and then rename the copy to php ini. Open this up in your favorite text editor, preferably not Notepad or WordPad, and look for the word extension. And if you scroll, nope, look for it again, find next. Eventually you'll get down to an extensions section. Okay, here we are. Locate the lines that say php_MySQL and remove the semicolon that uncomments out that line. Remove the line below it with, well, no, don't remove the semicolon from the line below it, which says extension equals php_MySQL-I, and go ahead and do that for php_PDO_MySQL.dll. One other thing that I should point out, and I'll need to go and put this back in the original PHP installing video that I did, is that you'll also need to search for the word extension_dir, and you'll eventually reach a section that says on Windows, and then has a line below it says extension_dir is equal to ext. You will also want to uncomment this line as well and save the file. And if you have PHP hooked into Apache, you'll need to, I should add this to my start menu. You'll need to browse to your Apache installation, click on the bin folder, choose Apache Monitor, which appears in my taskbar. Right click on that, choose Open Apache Monitor, click on Stop on the Apache server instance, which again will prompt me for my administrative password. Highlight the Apache instance again and choose Start. So if I go out to, I created a website called mywebsite.localdomain, which is right now it's configured just to display diagnostic information, and look for the word MySQL. I see that the MySQL extension is loaded, as well as MySQL-I, that extension is also loaded. And there should be a PDO section that's also loaded too with PDO_MySQL. This concludes this video with installing MySQL and getting PHP all set up and working with it. Thanks for watching.